against this right back, Charlie.
There's always just that active red line defending. I think it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Come on.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Come on.
Am I live? Of course I'm live. People deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning back in each and every time. If you're locked in on YouTube, please smash the like button. Twitch gang, I hope you're doing well and safe. As usual, appreciative of you lot being in my live stream earlier, where we kind of spoke about some of these Arsenal targets, or we took advantage of Twitch's laws and obviously watch some highlights and things in relation to Edon. So yeah, we're gonna get into Lisandro Martinez, Tielemans, and you know the guy in the comments and whatnot. Please make sure you're hitting the like button if you're on YouTube. 200 likes. We go over the transfer window so far and whatnot. Any talking points, please feel no sort of way. Get them in immediately and things like that. And as usual, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. In some cases, good night. I hope everybody's doing well and safe. Hope you're all having a progressive week, and I hope this week is starting to end on a high for you lot. I hope you and your loved ones that are all healthy as well. So yeah, appreciative to you lot tuned in, people, and as usual, thank you for your support consistently, day in, day out, week in, week out, and all of these sort of things, people. I don't know if it's just his name is one letter off, but this Eden kid looks a bit like Eden Hazard out there. Don't think he looks like shout out you from New York. I don't think he looks anything like Eden Hazard. He looks like a very good dribbler, you know, confident 1v1, taking people on, you know, good set piece deliverer, good in the final third. Looks very raw, really. Out of all the guys that are not Rafinha and Gnabry that we've been linked with, wouldn't mind taking a punt on him if he isn't going to cost too much. But yeah, man, we'll get into that in a second. I wrote some notes down in relation to him in terms of productivity, better yet. Not got the biggest goals and assists in his career yet. So at 23 years of age, he is what it is. But again, in a year's time, you never know what could happen. Sometimes you have to take a chance on these players, people, really and truly. Like, you know, just by looking at his statistics now very quickly, people, just so you lot know, I'm not making any of this up in relation to the guy. You know, as I said, you know, goals and assists need to improve. He doesn't have that at this moment in time. Just based on the highlights, he does not, you know, he's not going to have as much time in the Premier League. Sometimes he can run into blind alleys, but he's confident dribbling off that right-hand side. He's good on the counter-attack. The thing that impressed me the most, he plays with his head up, and he seems to make good decisions with his weight of pass and which pass to play within the final third. Shooting, productivity in front of goal, everything needs to be improved. And, you know, I can't say he's better than what we have. I would say out of Noah Lang and, you know, Pepe, Gakpo, all of these guys that we've been linked with, I'd rather take a chance on him right now. You know, obviously he's of Kosovan/Albanian heritage, which ties in with Xhaka. You know, again, he's been playing in Europe as well, so I'm sure he's been on the scouting list. And if Arteta wants him and he knows how he can improve him, why not? I just feel for a team that's doing this young player project thing, you can't have a 20-man squad filled of this, and we've already got a bunch of them. I'd rather wait and not sign anyone if we're going after him, Gakpo, Noah Lang, all of these guys. I'd rather not sign a right winger and address left back, right back, and in midfield, and if centre half, if Arteta wants it. If we can't bring in someone that's going to improve. But as somebody said, you know, you buy these, don't you wait a year. These lot of people probably want them. Very good dribbler, drops quite deep into midfield as well, plays with his head up, you know, shields the ball quite well. In terms of productivity, you know, obviously he's played in Belgium, he's played in France, and he's played in Switzerland, so he's clearly fairly adaptable. 73 appearances for Basel, 11 goals and 17 assists. For Genk, 27 appearances, 5 goals, 3 assists. For Lille, where he's currently at now, 2 goals, 1 assist in 13. So it's not really a that thing right now. If Arteta feels he needs a right winger, with not having faith in Nelson anymore, with Pepe's days looking numbered, then I'm all for it. And obviously, you look at our bench, as I said on Twitch, you look at our bench last season. Shout out to all the Haylem boys / youngsters: Mika Beref, Amari Hutchinson, Marcelo Flores. You know, Zach Swanson, who's now gone to Portsmouth. Bare of them were on the bench in the Premier League. How many of them played in the Premier League any minutes? How many minutes they played together? I'm not criticizing them. I'm not criticizing Arteta. What does that tell you? Arteta thinks he doesn't have a strong enough squad. He doesn't believe in the current options. Them players there were just filling up bodies on the bus. So if guys like this can arrive to the club and obviously make us have a stronger squad where it is 5 subs, where we are in more competitions, then fair enough. It is it is, people, in that regards. You look at his statistics in his whole career. 115 appearances, 18 goals, 21 assists. So there must be something to work with. He's not going to be pulling up any trees anytime soon. The majority of his games have been played on the right-hand side. As you see, he's played 36 times on the right wing. If you say right midfield, 27. 5 times on the left-hand side. You know, so again, you know, and for Kosovo, his country, he's got three goals in 28. So goal scoring is something that he's allergic to at this moment in time, really. But if there's a base level, there's rumours we've bidded anything from 8 million quid all the way up to 15. I don't think it breaks the bank. And crucially, if we've done our due diligence, if we've done our scouting, and this is the man that they want to take a punt on, then who am I to say no? But I can't lie. I would rather, obviously, it's always going to be difficult when you dream about Rafinha to sign for your club and Gnabry and things like that. But if we're not bringing in people that significantly improve this, then I feel an 18 months, it could be something very different, and we miss out. I'm prepared to accept that. I would rather leave it if we're not bringing in players who are taking it to a next level, especially in what you could say is a congested area and wide positions. That's one area where I wouldn't say Arsenal fans are truly happy, but without assuming anybody signs, we've actually got some decent options. Martinelli on the left or the right. You know, if Eddie Nketiah is playing quite well, then that means Jesus can play on the left and the right. Smith Rowe can operate off the flanks as well, and Saka needs no introduction. Whether they stay is another thing, and obviously bringing in a right winger is going to have an impact on their futures, if not already. But you have got Pepe and Nelson, so if we're not bringing in something that makes us, what's going on here? It's a bit of a myth, really and truly. But if the club have scouted him and they've said he's on a list and things like that, I don't mind. Get that lad in, plays like Saka. What Saka are you watching? But fair enough. So yeah, man. If that's who we want to move for, why not? So yeah, get the likes up, people, and we'll look at specifically what they've said. 23 and has played less games than Saka, who's 3 years younger. I mean, it's not always fair to look at that, but that is something to consider, really. 50 likes, we're off to a good start. We could be off to a better one, people. So what's YouTube? Sorry, what's YouTube? Why does it always do this with my title? All right, fair enough. All right, cool. And don't forget, people, it's a big day of content. After this, I'm going to be live at 2:30 on Twitch, where I'm going to be speaking with a City fan. Big up Daps. We're going to be speaking about Jesus, among other things. 4 p.m. She knows Arsenal, Jess. So we're going to be there. All due respect, Arsenal need to strengthen the DM and left back. Those are area of concerns. I wouldn't say you need a defensive mid. I think you need someone who can pass the damn ball. Left back, you're right. If Tierney's injured, we're in trouble once again, man. Do United even scout their own players, or they just copy us? I mean, there is a lot of players, but there's only a small, minute pool of players that can improve City, Liverpool, even smaller for City and Liverpool. But City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs, saving the best till last, Arsenal, you know, there's only a few amount of players. So obviously they're going to be in for the same players 9 times out of 10. I don't think it's anybody copying anyone, really and truly. Saka probably does have more experience than him. He's played more games, but, you know, Saka, Foden, them lot, they're exceptions to the rules, really. They're going to play a lot of games, really. He probably is, man. But again, it's all the potential. If he's got potential to rise up a level, then fair play. But at this moment in time, for what I've seen, I'd rather just keep monitoring that in terms of scouting and seeing what's going on. He's hardly set the world alight at Lille or got the whole of Europe talking about him. On one hand, you want to see the club move for these sort of players before they become a thing, which it could be that. On the other hand, again, for me, I'd rather leave this. And as I said, I'd rather address midfield, specifically left back if there's injuries. I don't think we're signing a right back, but I'd rather sign a right back in theory based on what you know Arsenal want or Arteta allegedly wants. If you could get another centre back, fair play, you know, if I'm honest, man. I don't know on Edon, honestly. I don't think he'll up the level, but if we got another decent right winger, then fine. But rather get the finished article there, to be honest. I hear that. You're not wrong at all, man. Keep the opinions coming, man. Shout out the members live from Planet X. Fair play. We need a Partey replacement fast. I listen. I don't know why we'd need a replacement for Partey at this moment in time. You know, when fit he plays for us. You do need someone to fill in if he's not there. We all know with rumors and things going on. Again, if you're speaking in relation to these rumors and things like that, please refrain from making comments until, you know, the legal system and things take course, or just damn right we find out the facts rather than speculate. DG AFTV reported about a mystery signing yesterday. I think it was Fabrizio Romano. They're also reporting Arsenal are in talks with two players that will greatly improve our team. I don't know how much truth is into the story. I mean, who specifically said it? Respectfully, I know Robbie and Deesman probably have a lot of contacts, but I'm hardly going to believe Robbie if he's talking about bloody transfers, really and truly, in a day and age where social media engagements is everything. And Arsenal fans, let's have it right, are just horny for some news and things. I don't know whether to believe any of that, really, but shout out to them. Until I see credible sources, until I see people holding shirts, as you know, it just remains talking points. Zhegrova is cold would be a good sign. I don't know about, I think the bar's on the floor if he's described as cold, but we could do a lot worse. Out of him and half of the other, like, tier 2/3 wingers we've been linked with prior to the Rafinha and Gnabry, I'd rather take a chance on him. He looks a bit better than the others, if I'm honest, but yeah, man, he's not gonna, you know, we need numbers, and he hasn't put up numbers in France and things like that. If Arteta knows how to improve the player, fair play, but you know, if you're not gonna get numbers in France, you're not gonna get numbers in the Prem, definitely where you look inexperienced. So we'll have to see how it goes, man. Really and truly. We'll have to see how it goes, folks. It's an interesting one. We're gonna have to see. Is there any other Arsenal news? Let me make sure I'm spinning the blocks. Big up DG Mish yesterday doing that Wimbledon. Yeah, you're just being an idiot, man, because Partey's not anywhere, man. Stop being stupid, bro. Like, 6 months at France with very limited minutes. He's a very good player. I mean, he's very good technically, but you need a lot more than that. And if you're not playing for Lille, who's a development club, you're still adapting. That means you're potentially not ready. We could do a lot worse. As I said, out of half the names we've been linked to, I'd rather take a chance on him, but I wouldn't describe him as cold. Bar's on the floor there. Bar is on the floor there, mate. But yeah, man. It is what it is. The revolving circus. Our fans see a low gravity player with good tech and lose all composure. Wenger heritage. I hear that. Yo, DG, my brother. Hope you're having a good morning. We still need them Yuris and Lisandro, even if we get Edon. Hope all these mugs are wrong about Partey. Have a great day. Appreciate that. In relation to Partey, I don't know what's true or not. We're not getting into that at all, really. Love for the super chat. AFTV got that info from Ornstein and Romano about the two unknown players. Again, we'll have to see what's going on, man. I hope it's Messi or something, or Ronaldo or something. But on a serious note, who knows? You know, again, I don't know what's going on there. It seems like we're struggling to even get rid of players as well. Smash the like buttons, people. Is there anything else? And I mean, if he's not going to cost too much money, we could do a lot worse. We could do a lot worse. All I know is when it comes to up front / right wing, we've known for the best part. I'm not being funny, but we've known we've needed a striker. Fair enough, Jesus is there. And the question as to what's going on there, we've known for a while now we need a striker. We've known for a minute now that we're kind of at where we're at with Pepe. We know Saka is overplayed, and he has been overplayed in the last 2 years, 18 months in particular. We know it's the beginning of the end of Nelson. So my point to say that is to say this: the club been knowing the areas they need to address, and they should be scouting. You know, by all means, go after these Rafinhas and Gnabry's, but make sure you had some probably realistic targets that if and when these guys say no, it's a bit like Lisandro Martinez. By all means, go for him, but you need to find someone with a similar profile that might cost less if that's the thing. Love for the super chat once again. I'm hearing Alamo and Alwar and Tielemans. Where's the sources? Is that trust me, bro? Sources. I mean, some of you said when we was watching Love Island that we've linked with Aura again. Until someone can rise up some tangible evidence where them Aura links are, then it's a bit of a myth, really and truly. He's just turned 24, bloody hell. And he's being linked with Roma and all of these sort of things. To be honest, Aouar wouldn't cost the most expensive, but you'd rather Malinkovic-Savic, potentially even Tielemans at this moment in time, really and truly. I think they need to do a tell-all story, because what the hell has happened? Someone that was coveted by Juventus, Man City, Real Madrid, everyone in the Premier League. Like, what the hell has gone wrong for him, man? There must be some bookie advisors, maybe an injury no one knows about. Where's it gone wrong? This was someone that was on the cusp of the first team, where France is concerned. It's crazy, and it seems like Roma are the most hell-bent team on buying him. Apparently, they're refusing to pay more than 20 million. That seemed like a no-brainer at one point. I don't know what's going on there, man. Really and truly. I mean, I don't care what AFTV was saying, but AFTV was saying Lucas Paqueta. I'm all for that personally, but Leon are hard to deal with. Paqueta's going to cost an arm and a leg, but bring him, man. His brother wanted a big agent fee. That's why no one went in for him. There's got to be something along them lines. Either way, at 24 years of age, you should be someone, everyone's talking about, not everyone's talking about Tielemans, but Tielemans, Jesus, Sterling, Fabian Ruiz, Douglas Luiz, these players there with a year left or 2 years left on their deals. Nobody's really saying anything about Aouar, really. Let's see this article. Where it went wrong as former Arsenal target face uncertain future. I mean, it could have all been different had we have signed him when we signed Partey, people. Where did it go wrong? 55 million pound fee. Now people are barely even trying to pay them 15 million euros for a player with a year left. What happened? We were linked with a reduced fee. A player, I'm still taking him, but what went wrong? In the intervening time, things haven't gone entirely swimmingly for the youngster. He earned his first French cap in October 2020, but the following month, he was in trouble with coach Garcia for refusing to warm down with his fellow subs after Ligue 1 game against Angers. So that might be something. Arteta's a stickler for behavior. It might not be a technical thing. It might just be something else. I'm going to say this once. It was logical to give him a sanction. I suggested some myself. The club decided to remove Hossen from the squad for Sunday's match. So we'll play with the squad at my disposal. And of course, I respect the decision of my club. My opinion is that this kind of case should be resolved internally. Aouar was reintegrated into Garcia's side after that episode, but a return to Deschamps' French side would not follow. Apparently, Deschamps claimed in November 2020 that Nabil Fekir offered more guarantees. So it seems like you're a bit of hot and cold. Obviously, he didn't do much for the French's under 21s, and which he was one of the older players. Boy, last season was a difficult year for Lyon in all aspects. With a year left, I don't know what's going on. He has also been linked with Roma and Leicester. Boy, he's still only 24, but boy, falling off, man. Fell off, man. Aouar didn't get good reviews from French press last season. Completely right about moving players on. It's going to be very difficult. Expecting Bellerin will start the season as our backup right back unless something dramatic happens after he turned down Villarreal. I don't rate Cedric, but it should be Cedric. Bellerin, I don't doubt his professionalism, but he speaks about Arsenal like we're a thing of the past. He's got no future. Bellerin is contracted until 2023. I think just in terms of the message, I think Arsenal need to alienate all of these players that are not part of it, really. Aouar is crazy. It's crazy to think, honestly, decent player, but there has to be something off. He has temper issues with off and cold. Yikes, man. Don't know what he said there, but fair play. The only signing I'm after is Malinkovic-Savic. Tielemans, in my opinion, is overhyped, as is all of these players we're starting to get linked with. Is an overhyped Xhaka. Well, I don't know about that. But why haven't we signed a backup fullback? Cedric is not the answer until he plays half a season. Callum, when you find out the answer to that, let me know, because I want to know as well, broski. I don't have a clue. Man said, trust me, bro. Reporters trust. I mean, Arsenal, the only way I see Arsenal going back in for hours if we're genuinely struggling to recruit people at this football club. All the other options are gone. I don't know. Keep pushing the likes up. People are still only at 87, not quite 200 people. So, yeah, man, big up you lot. Keep your opinions coming. They're saying 2 unknown players as if they're going to turn up first game at Selhurst Park like it's Royal Rumble. I mean, where would I be without you? On the topic of Aura, Roma trust they can sign Aura from Lyon. Roma are confident they can get a deal done to purchase Aura from Lyon for 17 million. You know, once upon a time, he was one of... Wait, why is the screen not shared? Sorry, folks. As you can see here, once upon a time, people, he was one of... Years ago, he was wanted by Juventus, Inter Milan, you know, AC Milan, Arsenal, various other Premier League clubs. He's in the final year of his deal. You're seeing everything from 25 to 17 to 14 million euros. Roma believe he could be cheap and he can impact their squad. There's resale value and he could be a natural heir to Hendrik Mkhitaryan. I would take Paquetá if we could, but it doesn't seem like we're doing that. Club is probably keeping things very quiet after the Toro and Rafina hijacks. I don't know, man. I really don't know. One sec. Did I put this on my socials? Where's my... Let me airdrop the thumbnail to myself. So, yeah, man, it is what it is in that regards. Let me... One sec, people. I'm still here. Let me put this on my Instagram. And my Snapchat, Gooner04, for those of you on Snapchat, Deluded Gooner04. For those of you who take me in on other things. Let's slap that. 97 likes, people, I can see on my phone. Appreciative to you lot for your support. Slap that there. And don't forget, people, 2:30, 4 p.m., 8:45, the next live streams. If you're on Twitch, you have nothing to worry about. If you're not, boy, then YouTube, you're in trouble. I can't really help you, mate. I tried. Slap that there. Everything is costy. Bobby's now your uncle, people. And yeah, that's that now. We're done. Back again. We need a defensive mid, though. I mean, if I could, I would have brought in 3 midfielders, 2 8s and a 6. I would have thought Basuma would have been perfect. But with El Nene signing a new deal, with Lokonga still being there, and obviously Thomas Partey, when fit, being a quality player, I was always naive to expect us to do both areas, really. You know, when we needed to sign Aouar, when we signed Partey, it was either or. Other clubs would have just signed both. Arteta and Edu have been planning for a year. It's all in hand, people. And it should be. I mean, you should know the targets you're going for. As I said, we can only comment on what's in front of us, and that's all we're doing. But, yeah. Big up the Ugandans. Appreciate that. 3 signings away from a great summer window it's on. I mean, I don't know for that, but I hear that. I love the optimism. You know, I'm not here to waffle about if it was a great summer or not. I just want the right players. I don't want shiny new toys that look amazing and whatnot. I want areas addressed. I don't want to talk about defense next January or next summer. I don't want to talk about midfield because every year we're signing centre backs. Like, I would actually love to. I should actually do my research. It feels like we've signed a centre back every year, and we're trying to do it this year. If you don't get Lisandro, make sure you're able to maneuver. I don't know what's going on with Martinez. Get to 200 likes, and we'll scour the net. I mean, Fabio Vieira, Callum played down fears of the injury, said it was a minor injury and things, but I don't see him in the training pictures, and he was wearing a protective boot. Now, I'm no physio or doctor, but just as me as an individual, if somebody says an injury is not serious, but you're wearing a protective boot, it looks pretty serious to me, but I'm not qualified to answer that. Big up DJ and the nation. Keep it up, mate. Appreciate that. Does Saliba start? Well, I hope so. You know, I hope so. I hope Saliba, Ben White, Gabriel give Arteta headaches and make his hair fall out. He needs good problems, really and truly. Go and give these lot headaches. You know, maybe they're all playing well and he goes to a back 3. Maybe 2 of the 3 are playing better. Maybe all 3 are doing well and Ben White moves over to right back and Tomiyasu gets dropped. I don't know. You know, there could be a reality where we've seen Tomiyasu rightly or wrongly play left back. Ben White can fill in at right back. Is it naive to, as someone said, Tierney can't be bet on for the whole season? There could be a reality where Tomiyasu left back, Ben White over at right back, and a back 2 of Gabriel and Saliba. I do think Saliba will start as third choice because I just think it will be Gabriel and Ben White. We spent 50 million on Ben White. Ben White gets that luxury, people. Gabriel, I don't think he's going to be sold, but there's that. Holding should be gone anyways, but to a degree, there's still a future for Holding, really. You know, obviously, he should be sold. Even by Arsenal standards, we should be able to make a profit on the 2 million. But for me, if you was to assign the backup right back and left back, then assuming that happened in this imaginary world, then you've got Tomiyasu who can play fullback. You've got, centre back. You've got Gabriel, Ben White, Saliba. You know, assuming you get Lisandro Martinez, for me, you don't really need nothing there, really. You know, you've got 5 players who could be utilised there. I might even be missing one out. And obviously with Saliba and Martinelli, I think they technically homegrown or in the future can be registered as that. There's really no need to keep hold of Rob Holding for all the leadership group. And he did play well when he got his chances. But the thing with Arsenal, you've seen Tavares, Holding, Cedric, and then they come into the team and do well on a game-by-game or the occasional, game. Then we start relying on them to do it for 10 games or in the most decisive running as we're trying to get Champions League football. Like you're expecting, it's tadpoles swimming with sharks. And then we're surprised as to why we didn't get it. And then certain fans who do the toxic positivity stuff say, oh, we just relied on some players who were quite not good enough. That was a statement I saw from a big account. Like, what are you talking about? Of course, that's a problem. Anyways, it is what it is. Even with Lisandro Martinez, I look at that a bit funny. If Arteta wants to play, fine, why not? And obviously, just by what we read yesterday, he's someone that wants to improve. He does his own research, and you can tell Lisandro's got a very good mind when it comes to improvement and intelligence. He's obviously able to play in a couple of roles: left-sided centre back, left-footed left-sided centre back, which Arteta is stuck on. Competition for Gabriel, 24 years of age, so there might be resale value. Good reader of the game, can play at left back. I'm all for that. But when you're seeing 35 to 50 million that Ajax wants, after we just spent 50 on Ben White, 30 a couple years ago on Gabriel, and obviously, Saliba wasn't his signing, but cost 28-30. There's a lot of money being spent. If he's predominantly going to play at left back, then fair enough. I'm not saying it's not an area to address. I'm not saying Arteta is wrong. But if we were to overpay, I think it needs to be done in the middle of the park, really and truly. Listen, I don't know who that is. I don't care about whatever other YouTubers are doing. Like, take that up with them. Don't give a fuck what they're saying or not saying. Like, is what it is. I don't know about none of these players that are arrested or not arrested. I'm not doing this for the 55th time. I'm not doing no speculation. We're talking about football. Them things there will wait till things are happening. Martinez and Rafinha are not worth the transfer fees. To be fair, if you got 40 million for Martinez and you pay, I think 55 million for Rafinha is calm. Edon is from Kosovo, where I'm from. He holds the ball too long, has zero link-up play. Bit harsh, but again, these are probably rough edges that need to be tuned out. Agreed, Martinez looks smart in terms of mindset, but concerning with only 12 appearances at left-back, honestly, exactly. So again, if he's an intelligent reader and he speaks about using Kimmich as a guide point, then I've got no problems about you at left-back. If you're going to play left-back for us, cool. And there's a lot of games we have seen at times, even last season, where there was injuries. Ben White and Gabriel had to play on within. That's actually something I don't want to happen next season. You look at Spurs and Newcastle games. I know Ben White didn't play. Ben White was killed against Newcastle and he's playing with an injury. Saka has had to play with an injury. Ramsdale had to play on with an injury. Whether we rate these guys or not, that's something that's not good. Then there's a lot of games to be played. And I don't mind the centre-back options because City don't complain about competition. Liverpool don't complain about competition. I heard Liverpool fans cry about, oh, Joe Gomez ain't going to play because we got Matip and Konate and Van Dijk. It's a competition thing. There's bare games. And if we want to aspire to be a team that get to 200 likes, people, 345 of you lot tuned in, appreciate that. But as I was saying, if we want to aspire to be a team that gets over the line to do top 4 and beyond, gets to the latter stages of competitions, then you need a squad. You need a competitive squad. And that's kind of what I want to see, because then players that are good start becoming squad players. I feel when Arsenal intentionally go out to get squad players like Marie, like Cedric, we get people that are just not levels really. And I'm not doing them dirty. There's other players that are involved in that. They're just not of that. They're just not cut from that cloth essentially, which is a shame really. Arsenal transfer thoughts. That's fun though. Exactly. And it's like Tierney, I would say based on last season, Tomiyasu as well. Love the guy, but if you're not fit, you're not relevant. The only criticism I have of Tomiyasu, Partey and Tierney is when you're not there, innit, really? When you're there, obviously, if man have bad games, they have bad games. But, especially in an attacking sense, what Tierney gives us, Partey in that lone six. And in a nice way, Tomiyasu gives me the Sagna vibes in that. You just know he's going to do his job. Everyone has a bad game, but for the majority of the season, he's just going to do his job, whatever. I know some people get onto Tomiyasu about going forward, and it is legitimate, but for me, it's refreshing. Like, in a good way. I'm not talking about Tomiyasu, and I feel we need a couple of dons like that, really. And this, especially when it comes to being backup left back, if we could have just got our very own like version of Tariq Mitchell, and that's someone that's not nothing to write home about, but they can just do a job and save us some quid, man. It would be lit, but it wasn't to be, man. It wasn't to be. It is what it is. 141 likes, off to a good start. Can we get over the line, people? DG, if Arsenal sign Malinkovic-Savic or Tielemans, would Arsenal's midfield be top 3 in the league? No. I mean, I'm open for the debate, but again, signing players is one thing. You've got to make them function, really and truly. Malinkovic-Savic / Tielemans partnered with Partey and Odegaard. It's not better than anything City can put together. Probably not better on the pitch than what Liverpool can put together. You could make a case that it's better than Chelsea, but I just think people have to respect if they put a midfield 3, regardless of their form or whatever, of Kante, Jorginho, and Kovacic. That's arguably debatable. I don't want to praise Spurs, but and I don't know what they'll play, but just in terms of a pivot of Bentancur and Basuma, I think that's quite good. I mean, we all know Tielemans looks the likely one, and Savic is calm. I don't know for Ben Jacobs, man. Fuck that guy, man. He keeps airing the DMs. Yeah, I tried to get him on this guy. I tried to get him on the show for you, man. Fuck that guy, man. These Arsenal fans getting gassed about having top 3 midfield in the league. One guy asked one question. That's not all of us. I don't know for mystery signings. Hey, been a while since I've been in a live stream. What have you made of Arsenal's transfer window so far? Is Vieira more of an 8 or a 10? He can play both. I hope he's more of an 8 for Arsenal Football Club. Shout out to you for returning. And Arsenal's window so far, nothing really. It started off well for all the optimism. Didn't get Rafinha over the line. Still in a fight for Lisandro Martinez. If you read the reports on today, it looks like he's getting United. Tielemans isn't over the line. Big up you lot for getting Gab Jesus, getting, Eddie and Ketty a renewed deal, bringing in a couple young players and that. Ain't got rid of any players. Yeah, I know Daniel Ballard, Swanson, couple of young players have gone out on loan, but a lot of work to be done. It's just talking points. Again, a lot of, it was all good 2 weeks ago. I'd say for me, it started going a bit downhill when we woke up to the news of Chelsea signing. Of Chelsea making a bid for Rafinha. That's when it all went downhill. So it started well with Jesus, Rafinha, Lisandro, but the only thing that's been done is Jesus to go with, obviously, Matt Turner as a backup fullback. You've got young Marquinhos, don't know what he's on, but there's a lot of links, really. There's nothing else done. So, yeah, man. Good start, if you could say that, but there's a lot more to go for. Oh, yeah, shout out Fabio Vieira as well. Can't forget him. Good start, but long way to go. Really, I'll give it a 5. Really, shout out to Patino wearing 35. Then, you think there's any chance of Gnabry or someone like Lautaro? I think you're more likely to get Gnabry then. I assume you're talking about Lautaro Martinez, but it's a myth, isn't it? Really and truly, we've just spent 45-50 million on Jesus. Eddie signed a new deal. I'm not saying it would be the wrong thing, but I can't see us splashing out for thingy, man. Splashing out for Lautaro, who's made it clear he wants to stay where he's staying. Yeah. Next. So we'll have to see how that one develops. Why is YouTube saying my title is offensive? How? Weird flex, but all right. So, yeah. Same old Arsenal, lots of links, less quality deals done. Bit worried about Saka's situation. Shouldn't renewing it be a priority? I think the club do have that as a priority. We don't know what's being said or not said in the background, man. You have to splash out to compete, but you need to buy the right players. If just spending was the right thing, then United, Arsenal, and Spurs would be fighting for the league. United bought Paul Pogba. It was dead. United bought arguably the best player in world football at this moment in time, give or take, with Messi. Didn't get top 4, United spent 80 million on Maguire. It didn't work out. Arsenal, 70 odd on Pepe, 50 odd on Ben White, 50 odd on Lacazette. Spurs, money on Ndombele and many other things. If just splashing was the right thing, then it's that. I hear you. You do need to spend to compete, but you need to buy the right dons. You can't just buy for the sake of buying. If spending money was the thing, bro, we shouldn't be talking about defense because we keep spending money in defense. We keep buying centre backs. You know, if I actually am going to do my own research to humour myself, it feels like every year we've bought a centre back. If you factor in Marie, Cedric, Nuno Tavares, we've addressed other areas. Obviously, Tomiyasu's been a revelation and come in, as has Gabriel. The defence should be, we finished 5th for clean sheets. We only betted United out the top 6. There has been some improvements defensively, but the mindset, the mentality, the application is still not there. So spending money correctly needs to be the thing, really and truly. Buying the correct players, you know, for whatever reason. Talent ID is important, man. Well, Chambers doesn't play for Arsenal Football Club anymore, so that's one less guy to worry about. Holding, again, even by Arsenal standards, you should be able to make a profit on the 2 million you paid Bolton, really and truly. Zaha, why not at this point? Man said Zhegrova is a curse word or something. Seen it on Twitter. That's harsh, man. It is a priority. It's not just headline news in relation to Bukayo Saka, like his last contract extension that made him 7. DJ, I reckon we should keep Ainsley Maitland-Niles. For him, for us, just sell the guy, man. I mean, he can stay and hang around like a bad smell. You can play Europa League. You can play if there's any injuries at fullback, but it's probably time to keep it moving. For you, for us, the relationship needs to be kind of put to bed, man. Trust, allow the guy. Is Zaha available? Well, he's contracted until 2023. If he's ever been available at Palace in the last few years, you'd imagine now's the thing. After a season, what is your review on Ben White? Do you think he'll improve next season with competition coming in SALIBA? Yeah, I do. I mean, I've been happy with Ben White. I think the jury's still out. I'd say a 5/6 out of 10. Really, I mean, he's had his hand held with more experienced defenders. At Leeds and Brighton, we've looked at him to be the leader. You know, very good on the ball. Think he's, you know, a better defender than given credit for. But I have to judge you to 50 million. And for me, based on the experience, the fact that you was an England international coming into this thing, and you've obviously been at Newport, Leeds, Brighton on loan, I was expecting a bit more. I'm expecting you to be the leader of the defence. I'm expecting you to almost, not our Van Dijk, but at Liverpool, it's Van Dijk with either Matip, Konate, or Gomez. I kind of wanted him to move into that. Can see why he's been brought on the ball. Still kind of naive defensively across several aspects, if I'm honest with you. Jury's still out. I'd say 5/6 out of 10 from him. And there should be competition. I'm sorry, you play for Arsenal Football Club. If you know, in relation to the world of Arsenal, if you're starting 11, the only thing that could make this pinnacle higher is if we're winning trophies. If you've got the number 14, the number 7, the number 10, if your first choice keeper, centre half, striker 10, there should always be a target on your back. There should always be a target on your back. So you should never be scared of competition, really and truly. I think Saliba will start off as third choice. I hope he takes his chance. If I'm Saliba, I'm not signing no new deal at Arsenal Football Club until I see how I'm phased in. Really. Our right wing you would like to come in, we haven't been linked with. There isn't any, really and truly. I mean, we haven't been linked with Anthony, if that makes sense. We have played better out from the back. I mean, you can see why Arteta, you know, with not just them, with Ramsdale, with Tomiyasu being narrow, Tierney when fit, Ben White stepping with the ball. You can see why these guys were brought, whether they've been a success or not. You know, you can see why they've been brought in. But it's just we're a very naive team defensively across all aspects. That goes from the striker to the keeper, really. So yeah, man. Saliba, from what people are saying, is the standout defender of the three. I think people are lying to themselves. I think there's none of them stand out ahead of each other. I'm not saying you can't like any others more than others. I do think people overrate Saliba a lot. Think he's a quality defender. Think he's returning, you know, a lot more experience. But a lot of people that are gassing it, not watching him. It's not that I know more or less than anyone. It's like you lot can go and see on YouTube. We was doing the loan reports. There was times, more often than not, where he was a leader in defense, bringing the ball out from the back, you know, good reader of the ball. But you look at him in the February period, he fell off a cliff. Everyone waffles about the slide tackle against Mbappe. I can't remember the game, but who remembers he gave away a free kick in the dying embers of the game? The team went and scored. Saliba, the main thing is he looks more confident, more experienced, and he's still young. But he's got a lot of bad habits because of the age he's at. Anyone that was watching Marseille are on a good defensive side. They're very naive. And when you look at Saliba, Saint Etienne, very naive. Was part of a very youngish sort of team when he was on loan at Nice. Kind of the similar logic where he stood out at Marseille. Now he's been, you know, recognized collectively and individually, called up by his country, got 30-odd appearances in the league under his belt and whatever in all comps, you know, help them challenge for Champions League. He should come back thinking, yo, Arteta, you got to respect my thing. But He's going to make mistakes. Gabriel's going to make mistakes. Ben White's going to make mistakes. You know, and the same people gassing up Saliba, putting him on a pedestal, they're going to be the first ones who turn on him. Because I saw it with Chelsea fans and Hudson-Odoi. I saw it with Reece Nelson. I saw it with Smith Rowe and Bukayo Saka. You know, he has potential, but they're going to do dumb stuff. They haven't been there, done it, wore the T-shirt. You know, he is going to be held seriously to ransom at times. And I look back and I think a few years ago when he played Diallo of Metz, gave him the runaround, you know. Saliba's got a lot of potential, but give the guy, you know, give the guy some time, man. Give the guy some time to do what he's doing. I'm fully confident in Saliba's abilities, but give the guy some time. As I said, if I had to bet, I think he's, unless there's an injury, God forbid, I think he starts as the third choice defender, and then he has to take his chances beyond that if and when they arrive. So we'll see how that one develops there. Yeah, let's call it Saliba versus White versus Gabriel. And as I said, even last season, there was times Gabriel should have been dropped. Ben White should have been dropped. Saliba in February should have been dropped. They're going to make mistakes. Same way Saka and Martinelli and, well, Saka and Smith Rowe in particular are scoring goals. How many times didn't they score goals? Again, it's not just their fault, but you look at the Southampton game. Saka and Martinelli score within the first 10-15. It's a different game. Martinelli scores against City. It's a different game. They're going to make mistakes and not take their chances. Midfielders who are young are going to do dumb-ish. The keeper's going to do dumb-ish. The centre-back's going to do the dumb-ish. As long as you're learning, that's all that matters. You do not get time when you're at a big club, DG. Yes, you do. I know what you mean by that. Time is subjective, but you do need time. And if we're anyone that's not going to give these young players time, especially as this is the project, fucking idiots then. You know, you should get time. Managers should get time. Everyone should get time. What you shouldn't mistake is getting time for no reason. Saying someone gets time doesn't mean you just leave them to their own devices. You comment across what they're doing. Anyone who disbelieves that's fucking idiot, really. I'm sorry, but you do get time at a big club. You can't, especially if we're doing this for youngster thing, you can't expect them all to do the Saka thing or be like Phil Foden or be like a young Cesc Fabregas. And if you do, your football's not for you. You don't know what you're talking about, or you only understand football at base level. Generally, I'm not saying US. I'm speaking generally now. You know, people don't understand anything then, really. And as we're doing this youngster thing, this is why we need a different amount of squads. I can't lie, if you keep mentioning certain things, people are getting put on timeout. Arsenal Twitter stealing the Brazilian samba hype we used for Bruno and Joe Linton. Man said Joe Linton. Are we at 200 likes yet? Still not, people. So, yeah, man, we're not getting into transfer news yet. We're just dealing with your opinions. DG, I really think instead of that 20 to 30 goal a season striker, Arteta is trying to get goals across many players. You think it's the right way to go? Yeah, of course it is. But you still need someone that's going to guarantee you X amount of goals, as Salah's done, as numerous City players have done. You know, you need that, really. We don't score enough goals. We don't keep enough clean sheets. Anytime you do that, you're in a volatile situation as a football team, and you're leaving yourself open to literally whatever the forces of the footballing gods throw at you, really. It don't make sense. Football's a simple game. You need to score more than your opponent and concede less than your opponent. Saliba's not perfect, but this is how it is. Football are going to be tribal. I like Saliba, so I have to belittle Ben White, or I have to get at Gabriel. Gabriel's my guy, so I have to get at Ben White and Saliba. It's weird. It's moist. We're all part of the collective. And if we have a collective squad where everybody, fans try to have it both ways. You say you want competition and a competitive side, and then you do the tribal thing. Or some fans do this. Oh, we don't need this player because we got that player. Some people, it's like people don't stop and listen to what they're saying. As I always say, I don't tell you what to think. Just think. Stop and think and actually listen to what you're saying. Like, you'd realize it don't make sense. So, yeah, I mean, we need someone that's going to guarantee goals no matter how much Arteta wants to spread the workload out, man. Got 3 young, and they've all got resale value, man. DG, we should get DRB. He had a breakthrough season last year. I mean, they're going to cost, please stop spamming. They're going to cost, he's going to cost 70, 80 million. Moves to DRB, assuming you're talking about DRB of Leverkusen. That's a Zang. DG, you're putting in major work, sir. Question, let's assume Partey is injured all season. Would you give Lokonga his chance? He's going to have to get his chance to go with El Nene. I'd rather it have been someone else, but fair play. Zhegrova looks a fantastic talent, the new Eden Hazard. I mean, but he's going to have to do a lot to be the new Eden Hazard, you know, and you're opening yourself up for criticism if you're labelled that, or better yet, fans are opening themselves up if you're putting them high expectations. I mean, to be fair, he's quite similar to Eden Hazard. Eden Hazard once went a year without scoring, you know, and this guy's only got 3 goals for Lille, so he might be in the right scenario, really and truly. Why not? Is there any other Arsenal news that I don't want to miss out on? The Arsenal lads are all over there in Germany, as you know, in the Adidas store at this moment in time. Ainsley Maitland-Niles is their cap here, and there's no need for you to be there. You need to. So you're traveling with the squad. We need to just break it down. It's time to bust out, my guy. It's time to bust out. I prefer Rafinha and Martinez only, Brazy. With the current squad, who are you backing to surprise us with a lit season? I can see Odegaard taking things to the next level, especially if a midfielder is brought in. Martinelli. Want to see if Martinelli can do the pick up where he left off. You know, if Martinelli can have a season like Saka and Smith Rowe in terms of double figures. Nelson, I give up on that. Nelson, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Nicholas Pepe. He's tired of it, bro. Push for 200 so we can do transfers. Appreciate that. We've got 3 young centre-backs. We've got 3 young, decent wingers now. We got to secure a fullback and midfield for the future. I hear that. You need both strikers to get 15, 20, and the team hitting 8 to 12 each a season. Do you feel we are closing the gap between City and Liverpool, considering the players we brought and the players we are linked to? No. Until I can tell, at the bare minimum, before we talk about getting to the latter stages of competitions, even though I think when you look at what Liverpool have won for all the hype is extremely overrated. Chelsea, I don't want to praise Chelsea. Chelsea get no noise. Liverpool and them have almost won identical stuff in the last few years. But, you know, until I can answer what Arsenal I'm going to get for 5 to 10 games, until we can get to latter stages of competitions, until we know what we're going to get from several players, and until we know what we're going to get from the manager, you can't talk about City and Liverpool. You know, there's so much things Arsenal need to address before we start looking at that. So closing the gap, do you even have any player, as harsh as it is there a single player that you can guarantee is going to get, and I'm not even going to put a specific number. I'm going to say double figures. You can't. I hope Saka and Smith Rowe pick up where they left off last season. It's a hope. I can't. They've had one season of respectable numbers like that. I think Odegaard and Martinelli can do it. They've never done it. I think Jesus can do it, but he's only had one season of 14, 15 goals. And there's going to be that tax of we're not going to be dominating teams like City was. You're going to have Odegaard and them skillers there, but you're not going to have Kevin De Bruyne or Bernardo Silva and bear of them. So I hope you can. It's all potential. I don't know if we're going to have, I don't know what amount of goals we're going to get. I don't know if we're going to create chances. I don't know if we're going to shoot ourselves in the foot. I don't know what Arsenal is going to turn up on the Thursday for Europa League in the latter stages and then the Saturday, Sunday. So we can't be talking about closing any gaps until you can address these sort of things there. It don't make no sense. We at that stage, Arsenal just need to not watch what other. Obviously, you look at what your competitors are doing and things, but we just need to look at ourselves and deal with ourselves really and truly, in my opinion. And then once we get to that scenario where we can get a bit more confirmation and all of these things, then maybe we can start discussing other things and all of these stuff, people. But yeah, it is what it is in that regards, man. What else are you lot saying? Keep your opinions coming in. You lot are in top form. Lobo, appreciate you for subscribing. Better yet, resubscribing with Amazon Prime on Twitch. Twitch gang, don't forget 2:30. We're going to be talking about Gab Jesus with a City fan. 4 p.m. I'm going to have Jess from She Knows Arsenal. So content, and more content, man. 200 likes. We'll get into it. I shout my guy, Dutty Duds, man. Come on, man. Make sure you're taking him in on Instagram, on Twitter. My soul collection. You know what the thing is set already. Come on. Hope you're enjoying your holiday, broski, man. What are you saying? Even if it's just 10, you're joking. That's not enough. Exactly, bro. The 10's not enough as well, you know, because harsh people might say, I'm not saying this with Gabriel Jesus. My feeling is Gabriel Jesus with a platform could score these goals. But if you look at it just on a lazy thing, we praise strikers for working hard. What is Jesus isn't praised for scoring goals. He's praised for his potential. He's working hard, how he fits the system. We need a gunman. We need an assassin. And we've signed someone that's never bust off a machine before. And we spent 45 million for a player with a year left. I'm not saying these are things that I agree with. I'm just saying this is the scenario that we're in. This is the scenario that we're in. So we have the potential to score goals. And as I said, for me as well, it's not just we could have, and I said it when we was linked with them and things were looking a bit more rosier for Arsenal Football Club. We could have got Tielemans, Fabian Ruiz, Malinkovic-Savic, who got 11 goals, 11 assists in Syria. You know, get Rafinha or Gnabry and all of these guys. Bro, coaching is a thing. If Pep didn't know how to break down teams and do all of that, then he could sign whoever he wants and it would be meaty. Klopp the same. So we need to, coaching is a big part. At this moment in time, if you're switched on defensively, if you're compact, if you're narrow, if you suffocate Arsenal, at this moment in time, we can't break down low blocks. That there's an element of coaching. In the same way we can waffle about this guy's potential and that guy's potential. And obviously these players need to take heed, but coaching, there's no way around it. You can't run away from the aspect of coaching, Big up the Newcastle fans. Look how Eddie Howe got a tune out of Joe Linton by switching his position. I'm sure at Pep, Pep, people were saying Sterling would have been one of the players to leave first time under Pep. And ironically, he's one of the last ones to leave. They're making a profit on him, There's probably some other players in that squad that they've got a tune out of. Liverpool the same, Henderson, I'm sure Liverpool fans, he would have been the first to go under Klopp. I'm not saying he's amazing and stuff, but they've got a tune out of him. This is the territory Arteta's got to move into. To go back to the last question, before we can talk about closing the gap and all of these things, we need to sit down and look at our own paper and deal with what we're dealing with first, really, in my opinion. So it is where it is, man. He did have a mad season, but is that the minimum or is that a one? Lacazette had that season where he won Player of the Year and he got 15 in the league. What did he do beyond that? So I hope he can. Facts, we definitely can't break down low blocks, very evident. And that's why I'm happy with Jesus, with Fabio Vieira, with anyone who comes. We need players that are We need players that are on the level and the wavelength of Odegaard. We need consistent movement. I think Eddie Nketiah, when he got his chance, kind of brought that to the table as well. But you can make all the runs in the world. You need the intelligence. Let's be real. When Aubameyang was in form, we always used to say it's a miracle he scores all these goals because there's no service being provided. Eddie Nketiah, there was a lack of service in the little games he had up front. Lacazette, even though Lacazette barely got in the box, it's not enjoyable playing as a striker for Arsenal Football Club based on what we've seen in the last few seasons. And that's a damn shame because you should be gassed about the creativity and all of that. We need that. And also you need players. If I make a run for the first defender, someone needs to read, oh, look, my man switched off. Let me make a run as well in that space that's been vacated. Or let me make a dummy run. And it comes with, obviously, fluidity, coaching, intelligence. And we're not a street smart side. These are all the taxes you have to give us. And also, we've got a soft underbelly. Sometimes when the sun's shining, you see something from these players that you've never seen before. Equally, when things are going wrong, there's a small minority of players that stand up to be counted, unfortunately. Saying a criticism, this is just what I've seen in the last few years, people. I can't lie to you. Over 200 of you haven't hit the like button. I think Jesus is going to be on smoke. I don't know what option it would have been for Jesus, I just have to assume whether we got these guys or not, we would have just been hearing the same rumours of Osimhen, of Martinez, of, feel free to add names, Darwin Núñez before obviously he went Liverpool. It probably would have been we tried hype again. We probably would have been sat here saying we tried. Maybe we would have gone more aggressively for other wingers and things like that. I don't know, man. I don't know if he's clutch, broski, man. Brother, our national team is very weak and he still can't make it in there. He's too selfish, holds the ball too long and is very fragile, easy to push off. I mean, boy, these are things that are going to have to be improved. DG chatting facts as usual. Big up. I don't know about that, but I appreciate that, man. How many teams at this moment in time are better than Arsenal in the league? Everyone who finished above us, innit? Right, simple as that. Smith Rowe needs to pick it up even more, to be honest. He stopped turning up halfway through the season. Got injured, lost his place in the team. Still a young man. I've got no worries about Smith Rowe. You think a Malinkovic-Savic Tielemans pivot could work in theory, but I think they're both very naive defensively. We might be in trouble, man. Our fiercest opponent in the Europa League, without knowing who's dropped down into the Europa League. Hopefully Spurs drop down into it so we can run bants. But I'd have to say United, really. And I would say ourselves, because as you know, once we get out the group stages into them latter stages of the competitions, we're very naive. The same naivety that saw Koscielny bottle it against Atletico Madrid. I mean, he's a serial bottler, ain't he, pussy? really and truly. You know, obviously, we all remember Olympiacos. We all remember false nines unnecessarily against Villarreal. So I would, much like the Premier League and the top four race, people are better than us and stuff. But I always find myself looking internally before I ask myself. I think we make ourselves crumble, man. Really and truly. Absolutely crazy. Martinelli and Smith Rowe should be strong this season. They will face high competition with signings, whatever that means. Arsenal fans need to give their heads a wobble. Fans think Arteta is the next coming of Christ and actually think we're going to compete next season. Won't surprise me if we finish outside the top six. That's not nice. Come on, man. Come on, man. Big up DJ. I just want to see some real intent in addressing our problem areas. I do think the club's trying, but I'm unpopular. I don't want trying. I want results. There's no trying. If I try to make decent content, but I'm shit, and some of you might think that, then we're not watching this. We're not sat here. If I try to pass my driving test, as I say, and I don't pass, and I want to be a truck driver, I can't be a truck driver unless I do something booked. The try, in life, you can only try. We applaud effort, but trying ain't good enough. It's a results-driven business, and football is one of the most results-driven businesses globally. Really, you either win or don't. You either achieve objectives or not. Obviously, it's a lazy view, but yeah. DJ, I didn't catch that. Or both of the streams later today on Twitch? Yep. No, I'm not going to be there with Ransom Matisse, man. I've got like 5 streams today. I need to find time to eat and all them things. It's just not there. We done our 10 a.m.s. We're here now to 11:30. I'm live again at 2:30. 4 o'clock, we've got Jess and we've got Love Island, man. I know the work rate's crazy, but I'm not superhuman, man. Love for the super chat once again, Desmond. Take it game by game. People are worried about the other top teams and punching tickets to Europa League finals when we could get rolled over by a Palace. I hear that. I mean, Arsenal's Arsenal, isn't it? Yo, never talk down your thing, even if you're using it as an example. Sorry, boss. Left back cover, what's happening to it? Broski, at this rate, I might have to send a little CV or a little, I'll do what Owen Hargreaves did to put my training drills on YouTube to Arteta. Man, Arteta, I got good mentality. I'm a good guy. I'm being part of the leadership group. All them stuff. Come on, Arteta, man. I'm on the El Nene thing. We can just travel Europa League. I'll play under 23s. I'm on that. I wouldn't mind a flat mid back three. We need to be able to play multiple systems. A lot of people, we're just unable to do it because we're a naive team, really, and things like that. We messed up when we lost out on Vlahovic, even though he was never promised to come. Pause. Obviously, it's dream chasing. DG Marco Asensio is the real deal. Crazy. Can't be putting Pepe and Ainsley's name in a sentence with Reece. You're moving harsh. Football is harsh. When has he had a run of games at Arsenal? My G, could you predict Eddie getting the 14 and 100 bags a year ago? I can only speak for myself. I've said Eddie should have been given a chance and a new deal. You lot can go and check my conversations. Pepe's 27. I don't know. Are you talking about Pepe or Ainsley? I'm Reece Nelson's biggest fan. Yesterday, I said I'd give him a new deal. But for Reece, he needs to go somewhere where he knows where he is. If the club are saying they're moving you on, if Saka is playing ahead of you every day of the week, if the club are bringing in a new winger in congested areas, by all means, if you want to stay, be part of the competition, why not? Contracted until 2023. The start of last season weren't quite good for Nelson. He ended it strongly. Football's like a drug to a nitty. You want to go and play. He needs to know where he stands. You could very much be at Arsenal for pre-season, then find yourself in Germany, in Holland, this place, that place. You could very well play for Arsenal for a few games and then not play. Nelson needs to go somewhere where he's able to settle down roots and play consistently. Once again, so you hear me in the flipping back there, I would like him to sign a new deal and be loaned out, but I couldn't, at this point, the first thing that comes first is the team. You're right. People develop at different levels. As I've said previously, Smith Rowe, he was in the same boat as Joe Willock and them, man. He went Huddersfield, patterned himself. As you just said, Eddie done his thing. So even Joe Willock, he took a while. He started showing half a tune. He got himself a move. So don't quite know what you're saying there. Again, in the relation with Pepe, Nelson, and Smith Rowe, please listen, especially to what I'm saying. All three are probably squad players at both. Arteta don't want them. Move them on. They all deserve to go somewhere where they can play. I'll always fight for the Haaland players. Please listen to what I say. Please, by all means, criticize me for what I say, but listen to what I say. He's not going to fuck you. I mean, maybe he would. But yeah, moving away from that, Loving it, people. I promise you we're going to get into the conversations in relation to the transfer business, but you lot are on fire with these comments. Chelsea in for De Jong makes sense. They need midfielders. Kante, Jorginho, Kovacic not going to be there forever. Jesus will be hungry to prove a lot. He will, but he's only as good as his level. You either enhance a level or you drop down a level. You're only as good as the other 10 players you're around, really. And again, coaching. Very happy about Jesus, but he needs to. You get it. Like, he's gonna need a lot of help. With love Zinchenko, Sterling. We can't offer Sterling competing for major things. Chelsea can to a degree, as opposed to City and Liverpool. So is what it is. I mean, if Xhaka is playing as your 8, then you're in trouble, aren't you? But then again, DG, we would have complained about getting Osimhen for a fee Napoli wanted, but with guarantee goals to some extent. I wouldn't complain. You're by yourself. I can only speak for myself. I want a striker who's hungry. But you are right. Generally, the club, they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. If they don't pay money, they lack ambition. If they pay, they overspend. If you listen to some Arsenal fans, they were saying bring in Isaac for 70-odd million. How would that have worked? By God's grace, you know, you have to be happy that some fans are not in charge of transfers, really and truly. I don't think we're really in for Marco Asensio, if I'm honest with you. We always crumble under pressure unless it's FA Cup. Well, we bought Nottingham Forest and crumbled last season, if I'm honest with you. Glad our fans aren't making decisions at the club. Of course, man. Very emotionally charged, man. From 2024-25 season upwards, top 4 get Champions League. DG, do you believe that Arsenal will be happy with getting 5th from those season onwards and not push to challenge for the title? I mean, everyone be happy to get Champions League. I don't know. I mean, I hope that internally in the club, long term, it's to get back to where Arsenal are getting. Nah, man, me and Arteta will be cool, man. You'd be blessed. I can't run it because we've got YouTube, but check out my last stream. We watched him earlier, man. Shout out to all the Twitch gang. Boris is gone. I mean, some other fucking Tory bastard is going to be there ruining the country. Nothing changes but the players. Fair enough. Sorry for the language. You know, it's just a game to them. It's just a game. Osimhen would have been great, but when we finish in the top 4 this season, we can get him. Then we'll get top 3 next season. Hope so. I hope so, my dude. Big up, brother. Long time. Hope you're well. I think Sterling is a very smart signing for only 45 million with add-ons. Yeah, I think it's good for all parties, really. With Sterling, City, and Chelsea. Pardon me. I think Glimondo's a bit rubbed, but I mean, it's better than nothing. If it's cut price, he's better than Tavares. Got to be careful of left backs from Benfica, but we could do a lot worse. Arsenal fans, we really could do a lot worse, man. Trust certain Arsenal fans tried to tell me Ollie Watkins was the answer and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Some mediocre business. Crazy. You know, by all means, the club do some dumb-ish, but, you know, fans, a lot of what fans are not consistent with what they demand of the club, really, at times, man. But, yeah, let's get into this transfer news. A promise is a promise. Smash the like buttons, people. It is what it is. It is what it is. Keep your opinions coming. I'll circle the block again for them. We're at 252 likes. We must come back 300. If you ain't hit the like button, unexpected high bills due. Twitch gang. But yeah, man, let's get into some of this transfer news again. Promise is a promise. Keep your opinions coming, bro. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he's an Arsenal fan, you know. Man called them Heinz beans, bro. They're not even Heinz, bro. That's Lidl or something. Or what's that? What's that place, man? I can't remember the name, man. It's where the old Sainsbury's is in Tottenham, man. The pound store. That's what it is, man. It's what the fuck's it called? I can't remember the name of the store, but it's that, man. It's not Big Shop. I can't remember the name of it, man. But it's where the old Sainsbury's used to be in Tottenham near 4th Street, if you know, man. Fucking hell, I can't remember it, man. It's gonna come back to me, man. DG would be so late, can't play under Arteta. You're a prick, but you're right, man. No, man, I would say sorry to Arteta. And I ain't trying to be the captain, bro. I ain't trying to be the captain, so I think he would allow me. But yeah, let's start cracking on with H&M. Hey, my guy, H&M. That's what it is. H&M, there it is, or B&M, or whatever it's called. Yeah, B&M, that's it. But yeah, Jesus is lacquer in disguise. I mean, the stuff we praise him for, and the lack of goals, I see that, but it's just down to him to prove you wrong. I mean, almost taking as long as Jesus to sign for Arsenal is Fulham trying to complete the deal for Bird Leno. We've heard they're in talks. Apparently, Fulham are looking to tie up a deal to sign Bird Leno from Arsenal. Again, we've heard negotiations, but until we hear he's having a medical, etc., it doesn't really matter, really, does it? So yeah, I would love to keep Leno as second choice, but he's got a year left on his deal. The man wants to play to force his way into the German team. Can leave with his head held high. What is all of this? I mean, I'm kind of tired of all of this sort of stuff, people. Let's read what the scum paper is saying. Arsenal to launch 30 million Yuri Tielemans transfer offer and are confident of beating Man United to the Leicester Star. Arsenal have stepped up their interest in Yuri Tielemans and are ready to make a firm offer for the Leicester midfielder. They're confident of sealing a 30 million deal for the 25-year-old, despite interest from Manchester United and Newcastle. Newcastle, you're not ready for that, man. You need to be fine. Newcastle need to find their Robinho. When Robinho went to City, he set it. Robinho walked so then man could run. Ran so then man could walk. You need your first marquee signing, which it could be Bruno Guimaraes, but you know, you're not ready for these guys, man. That's why half the guys you're linked with are saying no for the bans they give you, you're trying to offer. Mikel Arteta has already been allowed to spend 83 million this summer to beef up his squad with Jesus, Fabio Vieira, Matt Turner, Marquinhos. They never want to list Martin Tierney, do they really? Not Martin Tierney, Austin Tusty, whoever his name is, man. Apparently, Arteta has turned to Tielemans after top target Ruben Neves was priced out of a move by Wolves. They want 75 million. They're smoking the finest of crack. Arsenal have also explored the possibility of a bid for Lazio's Zhegrova-Tielemans Malinkovic-Savic, but the Serbia international is 2 years older than Tielemans, has never played in the Premier League, and would cost in excess of 50 million. I mean, the fact that he's not played in the Premier League and would cost more is a bit irrelevant, but we would be priced out of a move. Brendan Rodgers is reluctant to lose Tielemans. Today, we heard they're in talks to sign Koku, a guy that we've linked with, who played for Feyenoord. So yeah, that says we're trying to do things. Apparently, Tielemans has made it clear that he's keen to become a major player in Arsenal's rebuilding process, despite the club missing out on Champions League qualification for a sixth successive season. Yet his signing will not be the end of Arteta's spending spree, although he is resigned to missing out on Leeds winger Rafinha, despite tabling a £55 million bid. The club are refusing to give up hope of signing Lisandro Martinez, even though the Argentine international appears to be heading to Manchester United for 40 million. But Arteta's plans are being hampered by the club's struggles to offload any of the 7 players who do not figure in his plans. Pepe, who got a new agent, Leno, Bellerin, Torreira, Pablo Mari. I mean, that's your L, bro. You brought Pablo Mari and knowing he was shit, so this is you lot's fault. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, you should have sold him when you had a 20-30 million pound offer from both Wolves and Everton. And Reece Nelson are all available for sale, but have so far failed to attract any serious offers, people. So we'll have to see how that one develops, people, in that regard. Closing that, once again, apparently Arsenal would not have lost sight of Malinkovic-Savic and would be ready to relaunch the initial offer to Lazio. Apparently Arsenal, according to a report, are considering making a second offer after having a £55 million bid turned down. He's made no secret of him wanting to leave leave Lazio and depart Rome. I don't know if that's for another Italian club or somewhere else. But yeah, once again, Arsenal are confident of sealing the Yuri Tielemans transfer, people. Again, he's got a year left. He's made it clear he's not signing an extension. He's enticed by the idea of joining Arsenal. We hope we just get it done at this moment in time. Who cares? At this moment in time, tired of hearing the name Tielemans and Lisandro Martinez. If you're going to get them, get them. If not, don't, and move on with it, really. We've been linked with Gilmando again. Whether this happens is something completely different, but it's easy to be linked with him. The London club has an eye on the left back and already knows that Benfica is asking for at least 7 million. So you got to pay to look at this. But yeah, we've been linked with that. Again, when it comes to Edon Zhegrova, again, this journalist seems to have a good relationship with him, people. Where do I have it still? As you can see here, the guy who just broke that story and him and his personal agent are all together here. Hey. So as you can see, whatever that means, you know, if you can understand that, you understand that. And again, they're waiting on a move, really. So that's something to bear in mind. But apparently Arsenal has submitted an official offer for the 23-year-old winger. I mean, you know, he moved in January, so he's not set the world alight in France. I mean, if we've been looking at wingers, I expect to be some logic to this, really and truly. We've been linked with the Cat A targets in Rafinha, Gnabry. Then obviously before that, it was the Pepe. Ties into that now. Shout out the Twitch gang because we was obviously looking at him. You know, one thing I like in the final third, he seems to keep a cool head. I think he actually plays a lovely weighted pass. Like there's one incident where he played one lovely pass with the outside of his foot. He puts lovely balls into the back post. Pause. Obviously, he's good at set pieces. He's not gonna have if you just watch his highlights, not gonna have as much time as he does to dribble in that. Think he could be good on counter attacks. Decent balance, decent ball control. Plays with his head up. Could be a decent option, really and truly. Don't expect him to set the world alight. Physically would need to improve. Once too long on the ball. Very raw. Don't think he improves the 11, improves the squad, and he could be someone that develops. Personally, if we're going after these guys, if we can't get the Rafinhas and the Gnabry's, personally, I'd rather us just leave it and address midfield and left back and right back and whatnot and just deal with what we have to deal with. Like I wrote some notes on the guy. I said he's a confident lad. He takes people on. He defends quite well from what I've seen. I do think on sometimes he wants one touch too many. Physically, he's easily bundled off the ball. I do like his decision making, but timing of decisions can improve. Fairly skillful. I don't think it's the worst signing we've been linked with, depending on the fee. As I said, you need to improve piece deliverer as well. So I'm all for it. And obviously, just to gauge your mind, he's 23 years of age, 24 next season. You know, he probably doesn't have an issue adapting to countries because he's played in France, Switzerland, and Belgium in his young career. His numbers, it's not all a numbers thing, but we need numbers from these positions there. For Basel, 11 goals and 17 assists in 73. For Gent, 5 goals and 3 assists in 27. Currently for Lille, where he did join in January, 13 appearances, 2 goals, 1 assist. If you look at just looking at it by leagues, he's only scored 3 times in 28 for Kosovo. And in the leagues, in the Super League, 9 goals and 15 assists in 60. In Belgium, 19 appearances, 2 goals, 2 assists. In France, 2 goals, 1 assist in 12. So he's got a lot to work on in his whole professional career to date. In 115 appearances, 21 assists, and 18 goals. So there's a lot this lad needs to work on, people. But it wouldn't surprise me. We got to be wary of buying wingers from Lille, in my opinion. But yeah, man, I don't know. 30 more likes and we've hit 300 people. Very appreciative of that. Keep your opinions and whatnot coming. We're gonna spin the block once again for them. So yeah, it is what it is. We've spoken about the Gilmondo thing. Apparently, we're keeping tabs on him in the case of this Lisandro Martinez thing falls through. And where Lisandro's concerned, we've heard he's made it clear to Ajax. He's handed in a transfer request. I'm bored of it. I don't really care about it. If he signs, he signs. If not, he's not really. Arsenal target 11 million Lille winger Edon Zhegrova, forgive me for mispronunciations, who's been dubbed as the Kosovan Messi, the next Eden Hazard, and everything under the sun, really, where, listen, let's just let the guy develop, man. Arsenal are being linked with the 11 million Lille winger this summer. The 23-year-old has been dubbed the Kosovan Messi. He signed for 5.8 million. We're trying to get rid of Pepe and Nelson and all of these sort of things, man. So it is what it is. Apparently, we're looking at signing him for 11 million. I mean, there's resale value. And obviously, sometimes in life, signings don't work. By Arsenal standards, if you couldn't make your 11 million pound back on this man, if it didn't work out, then there's serious problems. So yeah, he's wanted by people. So I'd imagine our scouts have looked at him for when he's played for Lille, looked at him playing in Europe for Basel, done their due diligence. But I'm not expecting fireworks, people. He plays on the right-hand side. He could be an option, but it don't really improve us, really. And we do have a decent relationship with Leo, and they owe us after Pepe. So we've been linked with him. He's netted 9 times in 49 games for the Swiss side before Leo signed him. He had an instant impact at Leo, netting twice in 8 appearances. He has got decent trickery. He has got dribbling ability, but the next Messi and these things are not going to help him. And for me, it's far from that. He has registered a whopping 5.94 shot creating actions and 6.3 dribbles per 90 in Liga this term, if that's what you want to get excited about. He's only played 197 minutes, so again, it's small. It's a small sample size. So yeah, man, that's where it comes from. But apart from that, you can't see anything else. I mean, should we spin this and see if there's any Arsenal related rumors here? Apparently, William Saliba is in Dubai at the moment, but he's expected to join up with Arsenal in the next few days. Matt Smith is wanted by a host of Championship clubs, including Millwall and Luton. That's good for you. You're not going to make it at Arsenal. You need to keep it moving. Arsenal have never changed their the player's perspective. He still expects this move, but Arsenal will have to be quick, says Fabrizio Romano. So yeah, man, it seems like that's that. We've submitted an offer completely different to what we've heard. Fulham are trying to confirm the signing of Leno, and hopefully there's an agreement close. We're struggling to get rid of players. Arsenal are pushing for Lisandro Martinez, and apparently the player is really pushing to move to the Prem. And from Romano I think this week we'll have the final answers. I mean, it's Thursday, so is what it is. Villarreal are said to have made an offer for Hector Bellerin, but they have not been able to pull off the deal. They were willing to pay his full salary, but the player has rejected the proposal as he wants to go back to Villarreal. A young player's gone to Chelmsford on loan. I can't lie, I don't think Ovi's going to make it in goal. Very surprised he actually plays for Arsenal. That's just my opinion as a fan. I think he's quite toilet, but fair enough. You know, my opinion don't mean nothing. The Arsenal coach is rated you're playing in it, so it is what it is. I'll be amazed if you're playing league football at some degree in the future. Ajax are bracing for new offers from Manchester United and Arsenal for Lisandro Martinez, with both sides entering a bidding war as the Dutch side hold out for 43 million. If you lot get 43 million to go with what you've got for Gravenberch and any other players they've sold, they're probably going to get sell-on fees from De Jong and De Ligt when they €1 for Anthony. They're trying to kill us, really. You know, the player wants to leave. Both clubs want him. You know, probably more likely to play centre back at United versus Arsenal. Tired of hearing about this, people. Really and truly. The Dutch club want 43 million. Arsenal and United are battling for his signature, and both sides are looking to wrap up the transfer as they prepare to embark on pre-season tours. So it is what it is. He's asked to leave. He wants to come to the Premier League. Ajax are respectful and they want to do what they're doing. He has told the club that reaching an agreement soon with either United or Arsenal will be the most beneficial solution for all parties. Arsenal have had 2 offers rejected, with their last coming in at 34 million plus add-ons. Ten Hag wants to sign Anthony, and they've obviously signed Malanza as well. United countered with a £35.3 million offer plus guaranteed add-ons to 38. So we'll have to see exactly what's happening there. I'm tired of hearing about Lisandro Martinez. Man United will give final answer on £43 million man this week. I mean, that's for United fans to care about. Shout out to young Taylor Ferran for signing his professional deal, first professional deal, the 18-year-old with Arsenal. Shout to Charles as well for doing the same. Obviously, shout to Ovi for going out on loan. You know, it is what it is. Apparently, Arsenal tried to hijack Bayer Leverkusen's deal for Adam Hosek, where we know we had an interest in him. Apparently, you know, if you've still got some hope of Arsenal signing Rafinha, which I don't know whether you should, Leeds have issued Barcelona an ultimatum. They want them to hurry up with confirming the signing of Rafinha. And as you know, they still technically have offers from both Arsenal and Chelsea on the table. Time to move on from that and accept defeat in that regards. Bayern Munich, Serge Gnabry, a rumour that's rumbling on. Arsenal, City, Man United are all being interested. The latest we heard is that Arsenal are monitoring developments and think it would be a case of spending 40 million for that. Arsenal told they're wasting time as Tielemans transfer drags on. I would like to see that confirmed, if I'm completely honest. Don't forget, Twitch gang, as you can see with the schedules, you know, we've done this. We're currently here now. We've got, you know, Man City talking about Gab Jesus, and then obviously I'm with Jess from She Knows Arsenal later on today, and we're doing Love Island watch along. So there's that. What's this saying? Scrolling all the way. Did this even refresh? Leeds, that's got nothing to do with us. Nice to see Tierney on pre-season. Lisandro Martinez has asked to leave his current employers. Fabrizio Romano said, I'm told that Gnabry isn't on the list for Arsenal. I have an indication of the player, but I can't speak yet because I need to check. They are very good at keeping it quiet. So you're just making sure you're getting clicks. Don't know who this is, people. You know, a lot of what this is saying we've heard already. Bayern Munich are meeting with Gnabry to try and resolve his future. We know we're confident of getting Youri Tielemans. Allegedly, Arsenal are considering offering Lazio 45 million for Malinkovic-Savic. Didn't we hear we bidded 55 million for what it's worth already? Arsenal submit offer for Leo, winger player only joined in January, as you already know. So with that, there's nothing else really and truly. Like, really and truly, that's the transfer stuff, really. What are you lot saying, people? me get into what you lot are saying. Would be interesting if Martinez signs. What would that mean for Saliba or Holding? I think it doesn't mean much for Saliba apart from competition. Holding, you're further down the pecking line that you are already. Tavares, I hope that means moving him on. With Lisandro Martinez playing left back, Tierney being fit. You know, I don't advocate it, but Tomiyasu can go to left back if worse comes to worse. I don't advocate it. But you can put Bukayo Saka at left back. Tavares hit the loan spell. Show that you can become a player, or show that we can turn that 8 million into 16. Keep it moving. Sometimes signings don't work. Reinvest the P's, and then it is what it is, man. Look at Leicester. Samore not working, shipping him out already. Zhegrova sounds like a decent player that suits our system more. He carries the ball well, defends regularly, and offers that trickery that we need a lot more of. For next year, Arsenal is one of the winner club in Europe. No clue what you're saying there. Do you think Chelsea will hijack De Jong? I don't know anything about the De Jong stuff. The last stat is very worrying, but maybe that improves in a better side. I mean, he's not the finished article. I mean, as you can see here, stats per 90, 98th percentile for wingers. Bro, whatever all of this means, isn't it? But I'm sure it don't paint a good picture. It paints a mixed picture. Pardon me, these wide men pursuits feel like distractions from the elephant in the room of the central midfield area. Nah, man, I think RDB can go for both areas, man. Edon is young, a great prospect. Savic is an experienced player. Would you buy the 17, Alain Goulet or whatever, Arne Goulet? Didn't we hear Arsenal were onto him? Edon gives me Marquinhos vibes, like they're signing players hoping for a talent to emerge who will challenge Saka, but not really a known quantity on arrival. I hear that. Shout out Carl, my bro. I can't lie. I ain't trying to buy any wingers from Leo. Bit like me and left backs from Benfica, innit? They got to show us some serious proof and stuff. And let's just say we need to keep the receipt next time. Ever consider going into management? Got the know-how and attitude. Arteta could learn something. I wish, man. I wish. I'm just a humble guy from North London, though, man. Tielemans is a Formula 1 motor compared to Xhaka. It has to come naturally. He looks okay, but I wonder about the pressure he'll be under because of Pepe being as underwhelming as he is. I don't think anyone would be placing much expectations on this youth if he did sign. He looks all right. But yeah, what they waiting for then? Not a clue, man. Newcastle ain't getting him. Jesus is a gunman. I watched him a lot in the Brazilian league where he played mostly as a 9. He lost a bit of the killer instinct at City, but he can get it back a hundo crisp. That's what we're all hoping for, man. But we just don't know until it happens, man. Should Arsenal really let Leno go? I mean, if we could hold on to Leno, I would. But, you know, the man wants to play. We spent 30 million on Ramsdale. He's always going to play ahead of him. You know, Leno's not getting any younger. He deserves to go out somewhere and play. So it is what it is. If we could, I'd rather Leno be our backup keeper or him and Ramsdale try to keep each other out. I'm sure Matt Turner's a good guy, but I can't verify because I haven't seen you, Aaron Tusty, Marquinhos. I haven't seen none of you kick a ball. Out of all the signings, I've seen Fabio Vieira, and I'm not the most knowledgeable on that. You know, if you're a Premier League watcher, you've all seen Jesus. The rest, I don't know, man. If fans were making decisions, we'd be playing 4-4-2 with Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Ollie Watkins up top and Ward-Prowse pulling the strings in midfield. Hey, Ward-Prowse be all right for the team. I'd get Nkunku in a heartbeat. His release clause is 51 million. Doesn't that come into action next season, though? With the new deal he just signed. I don't know, but I'd be inclined to believe that is the case. So I don't know, man. Big up DG. What position you think Fabio Vieira is going to play? I think in the first initial months, I think he'll play as a 10. He'll play on that wide right. He'll probably play as an 8. Long term, I want him to be groomed into that 8 role. He's never going to be Santi, but we could sometimes you've got, like I said, with how Liverpool got a tune out of Henderson, who was a centre mid, or how Joe Linton at Eddie Howe's made him a centre mid. I think you can save some money if you just make this guy a number 8, in my opinion. What happened to Hosemar? Well, that's one where only he could answer, if I'm completely honest. Not a clue, man. His stock has fallen off a cliff, broski. Those stats show he's great at making chances for a team and himself, but he and his teammate can't finish them off. DG, would you take Pedro Neto from Wolves? Yeah, I would, but considering his injury, Wolves are still going to ask for a pretty penny. You know, you've got Neves, whose contract's running down. They're probably the last window he's going to be able to get you real money, and they said no. Now, maybe Wolves have said, you know what, you're more useful for us for a season than selling you, so that could be something. But yeah, man, I don't know. There were Dutch number plate cars at London Coley yesterday with fans saying it's Martinez agents, but it seems like the Isaac thing again. Wouldn't surprise me if it is his agents trying to see, what Arsenal are doing. Clubs talk to people all the time, but it needs to develop. Again, I'm not. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm not publicizing this journalist because man, we're not. You're a pagan. It's all the game's the game, but you're a pagan. He has said he is told Tielemans is more likely than Malinkovic-Savic for Arsenal. No truth yet in any bid though. Manchester United's interest is growing and could finally provoke formal offers from both clubs. Tielemans wants Arsenal, but as of yet, nothing is tabled. People scrolling all the way down. Yeah, I think that's all he said, man. We're not giving these guys any love on this show, man. Pause. So yeah, it is what it is. Shout out to you lot, man. I think that's the transfers. I think we should get Gahiri with Jesus signing. I don't think it's a case, man. Tuchel cooking with the young Kova pivot is peak. To be fair, Chelsea's probably the place where I think he would do a lot better because you got the 10 hard tax, but United everything but what United used to be. And if I was him, I'd Tommy Tuchel, the options Chelsea got, the fact they finished third is what it is. But yeah, man, I don't know. Very similar to Saka, and he aids in terms of chance creation. We really need creators to break some of those low blocks that we struggled against. Keen to see how Arteta handles managers like Vieira, Potter, and Howard this season. He has to show tactical and street smart growth. Exactly. He always has a plan, but when the plan and the dynamics need to be shifted, I do think Arteta struggles in that regard. So you're right. That is something for him to learn without a doubt. What else are you lot saying? Yes, Tielemans, but just know that he is a bit slow in the defensive liability. I hear that. What else are you lot saying? More leaders are still needed. I hear that. Need more telepathy with the players. Put Smith Rowe in the 8 and a striker that finishes. Smith Rowe needs to learn the 8 role. I would say in the short term, I'd say the one that I would like to see that if someone had to would be Martin Odegaard. In the short to medium/long term, I'd say Smith Rowe and Fabio Vieira. I want them to be groomed into playing that role. And as I think they've got the ability to. I mean, I look, and so does Arteta. He's tried to play, he's played Smith Rowe as a false 9, but he tried to play Odegaard. He tried to play a midfield 3 of 2 rotating 8s and a 6 against Graham Potter in Smith Rowe, Odegaard, Lokonga, and them man are not ready for that. Lokonga needs to be the best 6 he can be and understand the game, then start doing that. I would say Odegaard needs to learn his stuff, Smith Rowe needs to learn his stuff, and then you start doing other things really. In the modern game, you have to kind of be a multifunctional player, but one role first. Gundogan is not going to play as a false 9 like or Kevin De Bruyne and whatnot. They're not going to be doing that for City unless they were experienced and of a certain intelligence. The first few games will show our trend. Unlike last season, we have to start really strong. I don't know about that. It's a 38-game period. There's going to be some months are better than others. And as you know, it's a long season. The best midfielder in the world was at Chelsea. Nobody was rating him. He came back a few years later under Pep and is now the best in the world in Kevin De Bruyne. Potential only gets you to so far. I hear that, man. I hear that. You're right, man. I'm going to keep banging the Gnabry drum till the windows close. I hear that. Get Savic and prioritize a right back and a left back. Remember, they sweated last season without Tommy and Tierney. I hear that. If Tielemans goes to Arsenal, I think Arteta should be sacked if he doesn't get top 4. I think another coach is sourcing with this Arsenal squad. There needs to be serious expectations. For me, if despite the new deal, if you don't get top 4, win the Europa League or do something of significance, then you've taken us as far as you can take us. I have no doubt you could be a 30 manager in the future and whatnot, but it's Arsenal FC, not Arteta FC. For what it is, I believe in Arteta, not to the point where I'm going to back you to the high heavens. I believe you're the right guy for it. But if the plug needs to be pulled out, it needs to be pulled out, really. Reason we didn't experiment tactically last season is because we didn't rotate whatsoever. To be fair to you, we looked a bit better when we kept the squad the same. I do think Arteta needs to find balance. He either rotates too much or keeps people in the same team, really. And I think that was a big part as to why we was putting a run of form together. Around the times fans were crying, oh, why is he dropping Lokonga and Ainsley? You know, we need to have, by all means, I want to see us play 4-3-3/4-2-3-1 week in, week out. But we need to have a reality where we can chop and change individuals. And there's been too many times where I've said, we miss Xhaka there, you know. We miss Ben White there when it comes to progressive passes forward. That should not be a case next season. Think Eddie gets much of a run in the Prem with Gabby now? I mean, I do think Eddie will get chances, but you need to take them, really. I think you'd probably start off on the bench. I don't know. There might be injuries. Gabriel just might have to do a job out wide, and Eddie might continue through the middle. Maybe Arteta says, you know what? You pick up where you left off. It's your spot to lose. I don't know. For what it's worth, Chelsea have burst in to sign Frankie de Jong and are very interested. Frankie de Jong deal now becoming a public mess. Still no agreement with United on personal terms. United and Barca reached a verbal agreement. United looking to save with terms of add-ons. Chelsea now involved and are willing to meet the 68 million price tag. Boy. Crazy. So make of that what you will, man. We should be seriously looking at the Europa League if we sign Tielemans and others. Depth is crucial. Arsenal, please get us Premier League players, not some sort of players from other leagues. As long as they're the right players, I don't care where you get them from. We've signed players in the Premier League. Cedric come from the Premier League. Willian came from the Premier League. What do we get? Not sure I believe Arteta is the right guy. No, I believe right now, there's more reasons to keep you than sack you. If you show me, there's been times, as I keep saying, managers at other clubs would have got the clip. There's been times he's got the clip. For me, I think it's too, I don't think you can have your cake and eat it. You can't big up someone's potential. And when they do well, give them all the praise. And when they lose, they will do certain booky things, not hold them accountable and look to blame the players. That doesn't happen with Pep. That doesn't happen with Tuchel. That doesn't happen with Klopp. You've got to take the rough with the smooth. It's an Arsenal FC thing. Where I'm a bit harsh on Arteta is we're doing you a favor getting this job. You did not deserve this job based on you never had a CV. It's sort of potentially what you can be. And if we're buying into this Arteta thing, then I have to hold you to high expectations. The whole league, some Arsenal fans will have you believe that the whole league is going to wait for our players to reach fruition and stuff. And I think some Arteta fans lie to themselves. Some people are way too negative about Arteta and giving no praises. Some people lie to themselves. At least we saved wages. We relied on squad players for far too long. Are you listening to this? You know, there's been naiveties that Arteta and Edu have made. And there's, you know, let's be honest, Arteta and Edu, Arteta and the Kroenkes, this is a relationship of convenience. I'm sure Arteta is frustrated about things. But it's not like if we had Pep, if we had Klopp, if we had other managers where they might force the drum a bit more in the transfer window and stuff, and maybe even potentially quit. Arteta, this is a job of mutual convenience. I have no doubt that Arteta is going to be a good manager in the future. He's in his early 40s. Look at all the stuff he's had to deal with at Arsenal. But it's Arsenal FC. Really and truly. DG, please watch your language, bro. Saying the name Cedric while children are watching is disgraceful. You lot are brutal, man. You lot are brutal, man. He has to learn from his mistakes. I mean, he has to. Money's been spent as well. You're getting the most freedom. You're a manager. You're not a head coach as well. You're the manager. So, yeah, you're going to have to do stuff. I mean, this journalist who we're not talking about, I think the Tielemans situation is in Arsenal's hands. If Arsenal bid, Arsenal get Tielemans. Tielemans is sold on an Arsenal move. He's agreed terms. He's been talking to Arsenal through his reps for the best part of a year. So, to make of that what you will, people. Whether Arsenal act on that is another thing. Or if they don't, it's another thing. But is he winning the champs or the Prem team? I mean, you don't know. When Klopp took over straight away, you couldn't say he was winning it. He said, I'm going to win it in the 3-4 years, but you couldn't say that. Do I think Arteta is a Premier League or Champions League winning manager? No, because he's not done that. Like, do I think he could be that? Maybe, maybe not. What I need you to do right now is just make sure that Arsenal get back to being the keyword competitive. You know, if worse comes to worse, I think the way it's heading, you're going to take us to a certain level, and then we're going to need to move people on really and truly. So I don't know with that, man. And you're right, that is our question. But immediately, I don't think that's in Arsenal's remit. Arteta is a novice manager still, but got potential. It's now he has to act. We need some results after years of experience. Exactly. And just because you're inexperienced, bro, you've had a full season now. Money's been spent. This is your team. Any player that you brought or didn't bring is in that squad because you want them to, or not in that squad because you don't want them to. I don't know about superstar, bro. I don't know about superstar. You need to do superstar things. I'm sure even as great as Klopp was, and clearly when Klopp weren't an unknown, neither was Tuchel. I'm sure they've excelled in expectations. You need to do the basics first. You need to make sure all the obvious, the street smartness, knowing what Arsenal are going to get for 10 games, becoming competitive again, and then beyond that. Do I look at Arteta and I think, yo, you're going to be a Champions League manager one day? No. You know, my manager if Arteta did leave, that I would have got has now gone to PSG, and hopefully, you know, he's gonna make me look either good or like a fraud. I would have been bringing Gautier to this carpet or Gasperini because he's shown he can work with unknown players and develop them and stuff. A lot of money's been spent. It's time for results, and you can't just blame the players. You can't just blame Arteta. They're in it together. You can't just say some people saying the players bottled top four. No, they didn't. Everyone did. What I do like though is that Arteta's being here has forced an altercation in running and structuring of the hierarchy. I hear that. Like it's something to repair your team / coaching staff, your board or infrastructure. But for United to repair that reputation, it could take 5 to 10 years. Gervinho and Pepe from Lille. Check Eden's passport. It's definitely not from Ivory Coast. I'll take the Brazilians though. Harsh, man. Top 4 Europa League win minimum final or FA Cup win minimum. That's my expectation. I hear that. Yeah, we can bring in Tielemans and SMS. He needs to be sacked if we're not winning top. Bro, even that, even if no more signings happen, you need to get top 4. No matter what, as impossible as it looks, you need to show you can do that. If you can't do that, does he do the basics? I mean, Arteta's gonna have to show he can elevate the team, bro. Now, I can't say yes, I can't say no. It's I mean, we finished 5th, but do I really praise that? Because you came 8th. This is what we're doing. It's 1 step forward, 2 step back, 10 forward, 20 back, 50 ahead. You know, 40 backwards. It's just that. We can't. What we need to stop doing is mistaking progress for movement for progress. Some people just move for the sake of it. It doesn't mean progress. It's like being busy. Some people are just busy for the sake of being busy in their day. It doesn't mean you're making progress in your private life or in the working space. Man said DG and no, I definitely couldn't do it, man. Like, just a guy here with opinions, man. But I hear it. Who wouldn't? If Arteta can get it being a novice and just. I mean, no, just hearing that you train this and that. Why not, man? We might as well try it. Be foolish not to. Shout out you, man. You lot are killing me. Pause. All the players in the squad were chosen by the manager to be part of this project. So by default, they're an extension of the manager. Can't exclusively blame the players. Exactly. A squad is a reflection of the manager. You know, you look at City, world class. You look at Liverpool, fighters. You look at Arsenal. Young, innovative, hungry to prove points, hungry to establish themselves. Arteta got a bag of potential in terms of being a manager. You won the FA Cup and Community Shield, but respectfully, you're a nobody in this managerial thing. You know, the players, a lot of them, they're all doing good things. They're nobodies in this thing. City, Spurs, Liverpool, Chelsea still have better squads and better managers. Our expectation needs to be a bit more realistic. I don't know what I've said about a bit more realistic, but regardless of that, even if it's impossible, you still need to be fighting with them. You know, it's how you do it for 38 games, really. You know, ifs and buts are a different thing. But if Arsenal and Spurs were a little bit better and United, Chelsea don't get third. You know, if we don't mess up, Spurs don't finish above us. It's about these teams' ability to replicate with 38. And to be honest with you, we're miles off of the teams you said. But if you're not Liverpool or City, I refuse to accept that. And regardless of how impossible it is, we might as well pack up and go home then. You know, we might as well go home. If we don't want to be competitive, if we don't want to fight as unrealistic as it is, we need to go yard. Let me join in the Twitch gang chat while I'm at it. Appreciate that. Make sure you're on Twitch because we go live at 2:30, just over an hour, where we'll be speaking about Gabriel Jesus people. So make sure you're there. If we're not going to be competitive, if anyone doesn't want to go home, I don't care what other people have got. What are we doing then? Or what, are we just going to keep kidding ourselves or fighting for top 4 and say, well, most people are taking 8th in August? Tamper your expectations. I don't think you're talking about me specifically because I don't think I've said anything. But what are we talking about? What are we talking about now? Seriously. part of our troubles was the bench, and I did like there was more togetherness. But who is the reason there's nothing on the bench? It's Mikel Arteta and Edu. They're the reason that there's no one on the bench. Come on now. We're all in this together, man. But crazy, man. It's absolutely great. We should bring in Dybala. Great player, but what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? How's he gonna fit in? You know, we're just gonna have a shiny new toy. That's amazing, and then like, what's going on? Boy, if you know, apparently Barcelona's Laporte said we made an offer to FC Bayern to sign Lewandowski. We're waiting on their response. I hope their response is positive, bro. Fair enough. I don't think they were in for him, but it is what it is. I'd rather Dybala over Rafinha, but I would say I'd rather Rafinha. Brazilian bias aside, he's more likely to play on the wing. Dybala can play out wide, but he's not 30 there. Yeah, I need to get onto my designers. I need some emotes still. I believe this season should be the season Arteta to prove to us what he's capable of doing. I think he's got what he's wanted. It may not be absolutely everything. And again, let's be honest. Other managers would have got top 4. Other managers would have still got top 4. I don't think the squad is good enough and things like that. But there is that voice in the back of my head that says more experienced managers or someone else would have got top 4. Other people might have got more of a tune out of players. Other people might have been able to navigate this a bit better. There is that, man. I think I've explained the obvious. If you're not listening, you're not listening, my guy. You know, I don't know if you're talking to people in the chat or whatnot. I just have to assume you're speaking to me, where I think what's already understood doesn't need to be explained. If we're using selective hearing aids, you know, fair enough. Fabio Vieira doesn't have the boot anymore. I hope Martinelli has a breakout season. Why not, man? How many ref emotes needed on Twitch? I'm going to speak to you lot later, man. You're killing me with that one. Pause. Cedric is meaty. 100%. Arteta is a novice manager still, but got potential. It's now he has to act. We need some results after a few years of experience. Amen. Arteta has done a decent job. He has had us play like Klopp or Poch. But one of those won something, the other didn't. I don't think he's... Yeah, I don't know about that. There's been some good. There's been some bad. There's been some issues he's inherited. There's been some issues he's made himself. So we'll have to see, man. Martinelli or Rowe, either one, man. You know, either one. Both are going to be needed within this squad. Both are going to be needed within this squad, broski. Both are going to be needed. Need a chili emote too. Aye, man. And you know what? Let's start. Let me start writing these down. Shit is dirty, bro. Really and truly. Yeah, apologies. Sorry, people. I'm taking pictures of what's needed. Yep. All right. Cool. Making a mental note of them. People. Well, technically not a mental note. You get the point. But still, nonetheless. Obviously, with that being said, though, people, I'm going to cut this stream just short. Well, it's not even just short. We've been here an hour and 42 minutes. I don't know. It's for the people. Them last question, would you take Zaha, Savic, and Martinez? Yeah, man. Have you seen our squad? I'm going to cut this short only because at 2:30 across Twitch, I'm going to be live again. So if you're not following me on Twitch, you're getting shagged. We're going to continue this conversation. I'm getting a Man City fan. Shout out Daps. You know, shout out their channel, Never a Foul, just to pick his brains on Jesus, why it did or didn't work out. After that, I'm going to have Jess from She Knows Arsenal. And then Bob's your uncle, really. So you lot stay blessed, stay safe. Join me. Don't forget, there's still 3 more streams to come from me. 8:45, we're watching on Love Island. This is all going to be on Twitch, so you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not there. On that note, people, I'm out. Hit the like button if you haven't. Stay blessed. Hope you're all having a progressive week. Safe.
There's always just that active when defending. I think it's like